Stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Okay, we will now move on to public comments. So we have an opportunity for both in person and online public comment. At this time, or not yet, at this time, we don't have anybody else with us that would care to make comments. So anybody on Zoom? No additional other than our panelists. All right. We'll go right on to minutes. So could I get a motion to approve the attached November 9th, 2022 minutes?
So moved. Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, all in.
Aye.
Aye.
Excellent, motion passes. Next order of business is correspondence received 11/8 from 1922. We had quite a few entries. This was obviously, as you read through them, a lot of these were related to pre-referendum. I think if not all were pre-referendum questions that we did we did some. So I think we should be able to, close most of these out. It shouldn't be an issue. Then you had a question on just making sure you saw them, anything in there.
They weren't in the first packet.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, I like to pre-read them when
Yeah,
I
just
saw
to
how
make
many
sure.
they were. I can't do that.
Yeah, they were all questions related to, or comments related to the referendum, and they were all responded to prior to the vote.
So I always try to mention too, if we do have community members listening in with us or later, to please use the contact form on our website. It's the very bottom of our landing page on our website. Great way to ask questions, as you can see, and then get some very specific answers back. So we appreciate that engagement with the community to keep using the forms. All right, so we will move right on to reports. First up is chair report. I'm actually going to deliver some really, really nice news. So earlier today, there was a town celebration, holiday celebration, and we were very nicely awarded what is now being called the Crushing It Award to our entire building committee, and that's everybody in this room, online, and those that couldn't join us this evening. But just we really did hear some nice sentiments from Kathy Blonsky today, speaking on behalf of the town on the great work this committee has done, and the time, the effort, the attention, the length of time. We've been doing this and the time we still have to go, but how much people really appreciate their work and effort. So I want to make sure everybody here knew that was the case, and that was extended out to the entire committee. I, of course, say thank you as well to everyone. We'll do kind of a happy holidays at the end, but just a really nice honor, I think, that people recognize the good work we've done. So congratulations to the entire committee. I think that's it for me. So why don't we go on to town council liaison report?
You didn't want to comment on the referendum passing.
Because
that's the only thing we can talk about.
Go ahead, Jen. So
No, there's
great
really,
news.
really nothing to report, other than, we're actually excited about the referendum going forward at a more than 2-to-1, so it's good news.
All right, any questions for Johnny? All right, Board of Education liaison report.
I don't have anything for the committee.
All right, any questions for Beth? All right, next 28 building committee liaison report.
Thanks, Meg. Yeah, the 1928 building committee met on December 13th. We continue to work with Silver Petroselli on sort of fine tuning the architectural designs and review and design process. A significant portion of that presentation was focused on inclusive design of the site, particularly around the building, parking, and in particular tennis courts. And so there's a significant amount of discussion and presentation on that. We're continuing to review and that's an ongoing process, working with all the town departments to fine tune that and work on tweak those plans as we go along. Communications committee presented some information relative to ongoing tweaking to the website, the Q&A on the website, and the newsletter that will be hopefully be coming out the first week of the new year, addressing the project. And then we just discussed generally the timeframes and sort of schedules we're getting into the new year, because this project will be sort of hitting critical mass as we go forward. So early January, we'll be presenting, giving a preview to town council, scheduled to be on the January 10th meeting. The January 24th meeting for the town council, the 1928 committee will hopefully present the plans, and at that point in time, working with Finance Joe and the council with regard to establishing budget costs and establishing a net municipal cost and project for the project. And then sort of looking forward, February through March, we'll engage in normal meetings, community meetings, and flesh out the schematic design to hopefully bring this project to referendum April 27th.
Thank you, Chris. Any questions for Chris on 1928? All right, let's go.
First, the professional team's been meeting regularly on Mondays. Our main topics of discussion have been the remaining bid packages that were still out there, Miss Metals, the masonry, reno, HVAC, plumbing. As we know those numbers have come in, and we've included those in the trade packages. I've been working with Laurel on her team on all the scope reviews of those, making sure that each of those bid packages were complete, and that those vendors, potential low bidders had all of the items identified, which we have covered. So some of the other things, potential cost reduction items, we have still been looking at items that we could potentially reduce project cost if we had to. Some things that might make sense, right? We were collectively putting a list together pre-referendum, and so we've got a handful, not a lot, but a handful that might make sense for the building committee to consider in the future. So we're putting those lists together. We've reached out to subcontractors or trade contractors, and they're giving us numbers, and we're vetting those numbers and meeting with the decision-making group. Some of the other items of material testing, RFQ, RFP responses, we'll talk about it a little bit more tonight. And then the draft GMP. So now that we've got all our trade packages lined up, we'll be looking to secure the GMP with O&G. So that's their final dollar value that it gets attached to their contract with all of the selected trade packages included. So I've been working on 2 or 3 iterations of that, as we're going to then present to decision-making group, and hopefully at our next January 4th meeting, make a decision on the GMP. That's all I have to make for Sam. Anything else to add?
Any questions? No. All right, we're all set. We'll go on to architect report. We don't have a representative tonight from TSKP, but they did send us a couple bullet points that I can just let everybody know. They've been coordinating with Richter and Segan for track and field throwing areas in the upper athletic fields, and reviewing RFIs and critical steel shop drawings for the 2 updates we received on that. So. All right, we'll go on to the construction manager report.
I know I have slides, but Nelson, do you have any slides? Do you want to go first and just give an update on the construction side of things?
Quick update on the construction side. I don't have slides. You'll have more information to share to the team, but construction wise, we're replacing concrete, which is exciting. We started that last week, and things are progressing quickly, and we'll be erecting steel early February. So a lot of concrete is being placed, currently placed footings, frost walls, and where the old tennis courts, the new detention drainage system is installed, and we're getting the staging area relocated to that area. So we had Russ Chris and his team come over for a quick walkthrough. We've had the decision-making group present at our meetings, our OAC meetings. So things are progressing quickly, and we'll also participate in monthly staff meetings that Chris invited us to give a quick, Russ Chris, to give a quick update or provide some information so that we present to the teachers. Sorry. And we're hoping for a warm winter.
We'll get through this weekend.
Yes, yeah.
Any questions for Nelson before we go on tomorrow? All good. All right, Laura.
Okay, so as Mark really had already explained, all of the bidding is done at this point. The only one that's not settled is tennis courts, but we'll be talking about that in a minute. But everybody else's, all the bids have been received. Everyone has been vetted. So we're prepared tonight to make a recommendation of the trade contractors to be awarded. As also was mentioned over the last 2 weeks, been working through the GMP language and information closely with CSG and TSKP. So we've had some back and forth with review comments and responses. So we're still in that process. Again, the hope is to have that tied up with a bow at the next meeting on the 4th of January. So unless anybody has any other questions, I'm sure the next slide is probably the trade contractor list. Unless, oh, maybe that's later on. Sorry, it's probably under action.
Yeah.
Sorry. That's it.
Question I have is we had those 3 packages that were on the central office that went out to bid. You guys mentioned it. What did the number? I know during the referendum, we carried the actual numbers we got, even though we didn't award them. But there was quite a discrepancy. Do you have an idea of where they ended up?
I don't have that off the top of my head. I'd have to go back and look. I want to say it was a big significant savings with going from memory. The HVAC and plumbing was a big savings, wasn't it? Like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Again, I have to go back and look.
We were roughly $600,000 to the better for
Yeah.
going back.
Yep.
And then Mist Metals was another 125.
Yep.
But we were closer to your estimate than we were to those original bids. Because I
For
remember
the
there
first
being
three,
about
yes,
$1
for
million.
the first 3, yeah.
The miscellaneous metals had about $1 million spread, and we were closer to the bid we received than the budget. That one, but else came in under.
It's good, great, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Laurel? Yeah, all right. Communication subcommittee report, nothing to report here. We will have a few invoices to approve later on communications, but our subcommittee meeting prior to this meeting, so nothing new there. We have nothing related to professional partnership either, other than, again, we're going to talk about some of the readings of some additional things later on. And so at least this was a financial report.
So there's a financial report at your seat. There are some additional expenditures that we've had. A lot of them related to advertising for the materials testing, for going back out to bid for something. We also, since November, sent out 2 newsletters. We sent out one working with IRA, so there's a fee for the printing and postage combined in that one. And then we went directly to the printer for the explanatory text one, so there's a fee for the printing and then a separate fee for the posting. So those have all been registered on that, on the updated financial report. Now, this, remember, is a separate account than all the invoices you're going to approve next. This has been the account we've had actually since the first building committee back to 2016. Carrying that through. There are some additional items on the agenda. It looks like G3, 4, and 5. Well, G3 and 4 would come out of this account, and G5 is a separate one that we'll talk about later, but those aren't in the project. There's a couple accounts we have.
Any questions for that? Finance report. All right, let's move right on to new business. So can I get a motion to approve the following invoice package for Farmington central offices?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we'll open it up for discussion. Just a note and a reminder for all of these that we're going to talk about this evening. They were reviewed and approved by the financial subcommittee at their December 16th meeting. So we've had multiple points of approval up to the point when we see these invoices in front of us. Anything we need to know here, Mark? I think it's just standard invoicing.
Yeah. The standard invoicing, so we've got CSG, all of these invoices again have been reviewed and approved through the finance subcommittee.
All right, anybody have any questions on this first set for central office? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. All right, we'll go on to G2. Could I get a motion to approve the following invoice package for Farmington High School?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion,
I think the only comment here is that on the O&G Industries, the 733,000, right, we started to add some of those critical trade packages, so that's, we're gonna start to see now that work is being performed and site work and more concrete, that we're gonna see these numbers grow. You know, our cash flow projections put out about $4 to $5 million a month in future invoicing, so we're gonna really start to see this start to ramp up as we start moving into some of the bigger trades.
any questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right, we'll go on to item G3. So these were the next two are the two that Kat was referring to that actually are, well, it's different financial report that we were discussing earlier. So these are communications related items. So did I get a motion to approve the attached invoice for Local Color Ventures LLC in the amount of $2,865?
So moved.
Second.
We'll open up for discussion. So this is for printing of the explanatory text newsletter prior to the referendum. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. We'll go on. Invoice for Tall Timbers Marketing, in the amount of $4,460.
So moved.
Second.
We'll open it up for discussion. So this invoice is for printing and postage of the November FHS Building Committee newsletter. Any questions? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Now we're going to move on to D5. So could I get a motion to approve the attached invoice for Burden Enterprises in the amount of $9,784.20?
So moved.
Second.
All right, we're going to open this up for discussion. Do you want?
I can do it.
Yeah.
So in the beginning of the early enabling phase, there was an issue with the community garden that's in front of the library where some of it was taken out for a parking spot. We were not aware that was happening. They were not aware. So we have been meeting with them to make them whole and to come to an agreement. And the installation of a fence was one of those agreements that we had in order to protect the garden. Honestly, there probably should have been a fence there to begin with. This is something that would be coming out of the construction manager contingency for early enabling, and it has been reviewed and approved by the financial subcommittee.
Any questions on that one? Or any further clarification required? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Right, motion passes. All right. I think that's what I need on the table. No. Okay. All right, so can I have a motion to accept the following approved and rejected alternates as listed below for inclusion in the guaranteed maximum price? And we have a full list here of accepted alternates and rejected alternates. And once again, these were included in the referendum that was approved on December 8th.
So moved. Second.
It's a tie. All right, open it up for discussion.
This is just reiterating, like Meg said, that list that was, this committee actually recommended to town council to then approve in the 9.7. So it's just a reiteration and, you know, once again, making it clear what's in and what's out.
With this vote tonight, does this basically get the ball rolling for the subcontractors to implement these alternates. Meaning, like, I know there was structural steel that needed to be done or ordered before we could do the operable wall. There's obviously materials that gotta get ordered, so this basically sets it free.
That is correct, yes, so they'll, from O&G will be, after this evening, will then be providing notice of award to all of these trade contractors to start moving forward with their work.
Any other questions or clarifications of fire? Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passed. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to the step. Can I get a motion? Word of the attached bid packages with accepted alternates.
So moved. Second.
All right, we're gonna open up for discussion. The first thing to note is you did receive a little bit of an amended document that should have been at your seat. That is actually the one we're actually working off of this evening. We could talk a little bit more about what the difference is there, but is this gonna be Laurel?
Sure,
Yes.
Laurel.
Yep, yeah, the only change to what was sent out previously versus tonight's, I know the format may look a little different, but it's the same list with the exception we did add in that miscellaneous metals rebid Shepherd Steel. That was a bid we received yesterday and we scoped them this morning, so it was almost a 2-hour scope review meeting. We vetted them and we wanted to wrap them in as well because everything now is becoming critical because a couple of months have passed. So we wanted to wrap them up. This is everybody minus tennis courts. And the previous critical trade contractors that you've already awarded. So this is everybody else. And the dollar value that's here includes those accepted alternates that you just approved. So this is what their contract values will be for. Did you need, so, okay, one more thing I can just say is there's 2 Greenwood Industries, they're the same. The roofing, New High School roofing, Reno, I know I've listed them separately, but they in theory will get 1 contract. When you see our schedule of values, which you guys have already seen it, you know, each trade package has a separate application for payment for their 1 contract. So they're gonna get the 1 contract for both trade packages. Same thing with H-Car. H-Car has spray fireproofing, as well as the acoustical New High School. They're gonna get 1 contract for those 2 bid packages, so. So that's one contract for one contractor.
It's gonna be 1 contract, 1 AIA document with 2 subcategories for the high school and for central office.
Well, in this case, in the case of H-Car, no, I think they're all just the high school specifically.
And that has central office and their 1 contract will have 1 AIA with 2 subcategories for each project.
Yeah, so in the case of Greenwood, who's got work at the existing building as well as the new high school, that will be broken down separately between the high school and the central office from an accounting standpoint.
Accounting, but they'll have 1 AIA document.
Correct.
Any other questions for Laurel?
So everybody, if you guys approve this tonight, these will all get their limited notice to proceeds tomorrow. That's their start clock. That's everything that's in our contract is based on this letter going out, this limited notice to proceed. They will be directed to start their shop drawing, start procuring materials. And then these are the numbers that you will see in the GMP moving forward.
They'll be able to cut purchase orders to their vendors with that letter. And then we'll get insurance certificates before they actually start working, but that letter will allow them to release vendors.
All right, any other questions? All right, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. All right, we go right on to the eight. So could I get a motion to reject bid package 2.32 for the tennis courts?
So moved. Second.
And open it up for discussion. So the quick note here, a budget purpose item remains in the GMP. This will be rebid at a later date after a final determination has been made about the 1928 building. So I don't know if we want to provide any more context than that, but it's.
I think there are two factors in, and correct me if I'm wrong, professional team, two factors in the rejection of this is. One, during the scope review, you found that the low bidder did not carry the numbers through 2025, they carried it through 2024. So scope wise, we don't have the dollars the time we need them. Second, in the 1928 building committee proposal that they're going through, they're thinking of potentially moving the tennis courts closer to the behind the building / by the 900 wing. So this would allow obviously a rebate and getting the full scope through 2025, and also kind of knowing what's happening with the 28 to then make a determination about the tennis court and rebid them.
And where the school is located, to do borings, you need the school out of there. Do borings so that you can get an appropriate bid.
Does this affect any? I know that it was already there, but now that we potentially might move, is there any site work we need to be aware of that, like conduits for lighting, power, or anything like that, that we have to be ready for? If we don't have that answer before the referendum on the 1928,
Yeah, we won't. Work in that area.
nothing at all at that point anyways. Okay.
There's plenty of time.
Right, if it's relocated, then there's. So Laurel, on the demo of the buildings, ONG owns removal of foundations and.
Yeah, and that will all be occurring after we turn over the new building. So summer of 2024 is when we would be starting to do abatement and demolition. And prior to that, we need to know what's going on, but you have a little bit of time. You certainly have enough time to get through your referendum next spring.
Yeah, referendum.
So we would go back out to bid and. Much later in the process.
Perfect. Thank you.
Any other questions or clarification? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right, so now, we've done executive session for a long time. I gotta remember what I need to do. So could I get a motion to move to executive session to review and discuss the RFQP responses for materials testing services in accordance with Connecticut General State Statute? Just as a note, I'll say this now. This will be, the attendance in the executive session shall be limited to voting and non-voting members of Farmington High School Building Committee, not representatives from TSK. They're representatives from CSG and representatives from ONG.
So.
Any discussion? Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
And just for those online, there is a separate executive session link.
Yeah.
So please go on that one.
Okay, do we leave this one open or we close this one?
Without, we keep that one running for the meeting purposes, and then we jump back on, but you guys can log out and go to the executive session one for now.
Okay, I'll see you over there.
Yeah.
Little cats that was pregnant, we shared a laptop.
Oh, it's there.
Yeah, February of 2020. We had a building meeting. And then the next week, then basically the whole town hall had the flu.
Patient zero.
Yeah. patient zero. So everyone felt
We good or?
Yes. Yeah, that was fine. Super
All of
fun.
us. Okay, all right. So, could I get a motion to select for materials testing services and to authorize the town manager to negotiate and sign a contract with the selected finalist?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Michael, you good? Betty Smith?
I am good. I just, since I didn't have the opportunity to participate in executive session because I just didn't have the Zoom link or the stuff there, I think it's best that I abstain, but my support is for who you have selected.
Great, thank you. So we are good, all right. All opposed? Oh, do I need to ask for?
I think that counts.
Okay, sorry, that's fine. That's me not wrong. All right, motion passes. We do have an item on here for other business. Anything we can take this? Anybody wants to discuss this evening? No? Well, I wish everybody a very happy holiday, safe. Hopefully everybody stays healthy. Fingers crossed, we get through the big storm, but again, time with friends and family, thank you again for all the efforts for work. Really appreciate it. And we're, yes, and I don't want to mention it. She's making me mention Kat. And Kat will no longer, well, she'll be with us, but will be on maternity leave starting in the new year. So coming back April,
Probably like March-ish.
so we just want to say, yeah. So
Look how long.
we wish you obviously well wishes. We're very excited. Can't wait to meet the next building project baby. That's going to be.
Future epic.
That's right, exactly right. So, but again, yeah, happy holidays. Enjoy the time.
Thank you.
All right.
Good example for ONG, everything is done on schedule. On plan, no surprises. And that's how we want the project to be. It's never.
All right, can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
Second.
Discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.
Have a great holiday.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.